Hello everyone! In this video, I'll tell you about my unique trading indicator, which I developed over several months and spent more than $10,000 on. And most importantly, I've already managed to recoup all the money I invested and even earn a bit more. You can actually see the amount for yourself right now on my balance.
So as you can see, I currently have TradingView open, and all you need to do to get access to my indicator is simply join my Telegram channel. I'm giving it away absolutely free. I just grant you access to it on your TradingView account, so make sure to join and become a part of it. I probably have one of the most interesting trading channels out there right now. There are plenty of signals there, a lot of interesting content, and educational materials. So after you message me, I'll grant you access. You go to the Indicators tab, select this option here, and as I mentioned, you'll see my two indicators appear. Then we simply click on 1 and 2. That's it, the indicator is already set up for you, so to speak. What do we see here? The most important thing is that positions open when we need to go up or down. And if we look at how they perform, how they work in practice, everything actually works just perfectly. So you can see, for example, that at this moment, the position signals to open upwards, here it signals downwards. And overall, this happens within a short period of time. Here again, there was another downward signal, and again here. So pay attention to how well it has proven itself, how it performs. I want to say right away, guys, that my indicator is not a cure-all for losses. Naturally, losses can happen, and indicators, unfortunately, can also make mistakes. I never guarantee anyone anything 100%, if only because, guys, I've made this product absolutely free for you. I don't make any money from it. And I really will be glad if you appreciate, so to speak, my contribution to the trading community. I'd also like to say that in any situation, no matter how you trade, you need to keep in mind that you should manage your deposit properly. That is, I recommend opening positions for no more than 1 to 3% of your total deposit. So for example, if you have in your account, like I have right now, $45, then basically my first position shouldn't be more than $400. Yes, that's absolutely ideal if it's exactly like that. So 1%, 3%, that would be $1,200 respectively. In this video, as always, I say that I'm used to showing how everything works, not just talking about it, so let's go through it. What makes this indicator convenient? It shows you all the volumes, it shows you support levels, resistance levels, it shows you average levels, and we also have moving averages here, 20, 50, and 200. So, we'll go through those together now, and you can open any currency pair you want. It doesn't matter. Whatever you actually trade on, for example, let's say the pound against the dollar. For example, look, I open the pound-dollar pair, and you can see that everything adjusts automatically right away. If you trade crypto, you can open that as well. For example, I don't know, the same Bitcoin. Yes, as time passes, everything adjusts automatically for you as well. Everything works really great. So I think that as a completely free product, this is truly something unique. And I would be very happy if, after watching this video, each of you who wants to, first of all, gets it, and then after some time, writes your comments right under this video about how this indicator is working for you. Honestly, it would make me really happy. I'll know that everything I'm not doing in vain. So accordingly, what do we see when you are trading? Naturally, you need to understand that an indicator is an auxiliary tool that can be very helpful in trading. I recommend that if you see a signal indicating, for example, that you should open a position and you already have it, well, if this indication appears, then I advise opening positions for 3 minutes. That is, if you clearly see it. When you see this kind of indication, open a position for 3 minutes, because even my indicator sometimes gives, for example, false breakouts. Yes, it suggests opening a position here for an upward move, although in reality, there was a drawdown here, and it tells you to open again, and after that, the growth begins. That's why proper allocation of your deposit, for example over 6 steps, can really save your deposit significantly. As we can see now, you don't necessarily have to trade only when this indication appears, because sometimes the waiting periods can be very long, drawn out, and so on. For example, look, we had a signal at 1938 and then the next one at 1957. So we just waited for 21 minutes. Yes, there are times when the indicator might not give a signal for an hour, 2, or even 3. That's why you really need to be able to read, ideally, everything. What do we see here? For example, here we see that the chart is almost at its lowest extreme, which it last reached at 5 o'clock, that is 3.5 hours ago. We can see that the chart has already entered the gray zone here, like this. Yes, so now, with a very high probability, volumes will start to flow in here. Plus, we see that it moved through quite sharply. It broke through its previous support level and is continuing to go down. So here we can confidently say that a downtrend has started, which has been going on for almost 2 hours, maybe even a bit longer. So we understand that most likely the trend is declining, as they say. As you can see, for example, regarding message search, by the way, I'll leave a link to it in my Telegram channel, and in my Telegram channel, you can also trade using my signals absolutely free of charge. Let me go ahead and set the amount now. Let's take a bit of a risk. I'll open a slightly larger amount. Here's another $200. Let's set the time to 2 minutes and open a position for a decrease. Let me explain why I'm opening a position for a decrease right now. Look, as I already mentioned, a breakout has occurred. After this level was broken, we saw a rebound. Right now, the financial chart has effectively reached its central point, so to speak, the crucial median line. This is precisely how it has successfully reached this significant median line, and from this particular line, in theoretical terms, the anticipated rebound should continue its downward trajectory. Yes, of course, it could break through, and the rebound might go a bit higher, but in any case, since we have signals from, first of all, the moving averages, and secondly, these dashed lines here that indicate the trend direction, we should expect this movement. Yes, you can also see, for example, they were going up, and then they turned around. Accordingly, this tells us that the trend is going to fall. And at the moment, even taking all this growth into account, we can clearly see that everything still points to a decline. So, we continue to open downward. Here we form the next level. Most likely everything will move along the corridor now. Let's just observe for now. Why do I say it's important to split things up correctly? The deposit? Because, guys, for example, some signals might simply not work out without any issues. Right now, I'm trading strictly based on the indicator, even without any additional signals like a red or green arrow. That's why it's very important to manage your deposit wisely. Everything, so to speak, anything can happen in life, and now we have just a few seconds left here. It's good that we're holding on like this. So when people say the charts are different, guys, pay attention. The charts are exactly the same, absolutely identical. Everything is the same, everything is moving as it should. Alright, with one trade each, that's great. We have 765. Let's wait for 3, 2, 1. There we go. Look at that profit right away. 83%, guys, 83% right now, just amazing. Okay, let's keep watching. I want to find a really good situation somewhere. Let's open the pound to the dollar. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, look, there are no volumes here at all. No volumes at all, guys. There are absolutely no volumes here. The potential decline could continue almost all the way to this line. And by the way, this is a weekly support line. Can you imagine a weekly level like this? Actually, the third one, which doesn't happen that often, but for now, things aren't calm yet. I just want to see where we have some normal currency pairs, maybe some others. And so that the returns are still decent, because as you can see, I don't recommend trading on the OTC market. And by the way, if you haven't watched, check it out either here or here. Videos about the OTC market will pop up for you now. Be sure to go and watch, because a lot of people lose their money trading there. Go ahead and watch. I think everything will become much clearer to you. So here we have the euro to Australian dollar. By the way, it's an interesting situation. Let's choose the euro. So euro to Australian dollar. Let's open it and see what's going to happen here now. It's amazing here. Actually, we can see that the market is quite volatile. Judging by the candlesticks, we can see that things are looking very good here. Let's say the volumes are strong and we can clearly see that there is still room for growth here. Look, the candlestick is very sharp. Right now, I'm opening an upward trade for 1 minute for the near term. That's it. Yes, here. 1, 2, 3. Everything is set. Yes, we're trading here. Again, for example, there's no signal right now, but we can see that here we have one support level, here is the second support level, and here's the third support level. The volume is all above, so we understand that the potential for a rebound here is simply huge. It's very unlikely that all these levels will be broken through without any kind of retest. But if we now see that, for some reason, everything really does start to fall further, we simply go ahead and start buying everything up for an upward move. In other words, nothing stops us from opening a position, for example, twice as large, and in this way, we can offset our loss precisely because we are managing our deposit wisely. At the same time, notice that sometimes you see there are even some slight lags here and there, but very, there's a profit, guys. There's a profit. Take note of that. An amazing result in my opinion. Alright, let's keep watching. I want to. Well, I think we can actually stay here and keep trading. So, that's it, amazing. Alright, let's remove this one. And this one next. Okay, let's keep watching for now. Yes, so potentially here, for example, along the trend line. We can see that the trend has started to move downward here, right? It still can't quite settle anywhere. We're seeing a sharp rebound because there are volumes here. It seems like there's a resistance level and so on. So look, a sharp rebound happened. I immediately open a position for a decline. I immediately open a position for a decline. And for now, we wait. So, as soon as we see any sharp impulse, we immediately open a position in the opposite direction. If we see a downward impulse, we open a position upward. If we see an upward impulse, we open a position downward. Everything works just perfectly. Later, really, write to me, try it out, and when you leave your comments, I read all of them and try to reply to every comment. It would honestly make me sincerely happy if you manage to get good results thanks to this tool. You see, when I precisely spot a sharp, decisive impulse, I immediately open a position for the very nearest, most immediate time frame, because there's absolutely no point in waiting, especially when we clearly see a highly volatile and unpredictable chart right in front of us. That is to say, when we observe sharp, significant candles, both moving vigorously up and down and so on, indicating considerable market activity. Saw a sharp candle, opened a position. For example, right here, look, this position is closing in profit. I immediately opened a position for an increase here, yes, so you could say, if we had more time, this was called a corridor. That is, when I open an upward position from below, and when the chart is at the top, I open a downward position. This is what's called a corridor here, more or less, meaning you see a sharp impulse and open a position against it, and so on. The indicator really helps a lot with this. It's very cool. Of course, if you already have experience, if you've been trading for a long time, then many of these things, for example, might not be particularly useful to you, because when you look at the chart, you can already determine for yourself what's generally happening right now, what the current trend direction is, and so on. But believe me, with the indicator, all of this becomes much easier. That is, you just turn it on, it works for you, everything is great, and you don't have to rack your brain. At the same time, I know that some people who have already tried my indicator, let's say, they just kept it running in the background. Just imagine you can open several tabs for yourself on TradingView, for example, on the same platform. Wait, did it not set the position here or something? In general, you can open several trades for yourself, or rather, several tabs. You see a signal to go short, you open it. You see a signal to go long, you open it. And you just sit there, switching between them. Of course, as I always say, it's better to do it this way. It's also important to be able to trade between signals, because that's very important, and after all, it gives you more options, more variety, more freedom. But you can even work like this. What's going on with the euro-dollar right now? Here we have a cascading decline. Look, it's reached a level where there are practically no volumes, so we can switch now. Let's open the euro-dollar here. Euro-dollar, everyone has it open? Great. Now look, I'm opening a position for an upward move. Why upward and why for a short time? First of all, the chart is almost at the lowest extreme, and there's a very strong support level here. Secondly, we see there are no volumes. If we see that there are no volumes, what does that tell us? Exactly. Yes, it tells us that most likely, the market will now try to level out. So we need to wait until these volumes move over here, and for them to flow here, we need to wait. The moment when money will be injected into the market, and with a very high probability, the inflow of money will start very, very soon. In other words, the price basically crashed, like when they explain how smart money trading strategies work. Yes, and that's exactly where it's explained that, for example, the market is essentially crashed, then they buy in, then the market grows, and at the peak, they sell and buy again. Well, basically that's the basic strategy, so to speak. Guys, so here's another position. I'll close it in profit. Without any edits, I always show you everything as it is. Yes, and I want to tell you that an indicator, as an auxiliary tool, is not a cure-all, as I've already said. This is not some indicator that is sold for $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. By the way, I also made a video about such indicators. Come in and take a look. Here's a hint. Because I was just stunned when I bought the indicator for 5,000 bucks and I realized what I was getting. Well, basically the basic setup. Yes, I did make money with it, but it's definitely not worth it. And I'm telling you everything. Yes, I made my YouTube channel. Many people asked me, so I made my Telegram channel and then I developed it. Well, the development took a long time, but I'm showing you this indicator absolutely free. So basically, I'm trying to do everything so that you, as beginners, can definitely come and start learning properly. Because I was once in your shoes too. I also didn't have any knowledge at one point. And unfortunately, at that time, I didn't have anyone who could come along. Thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please support me by giving it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel, join my Telegram channel, get the indicator, and leave your feedback. I try to respond to everything. See you next time!